Hey folks, we're bringing another episode of 1776 God and Country your way. We've got some wonderful copies of some of the founding documents here. We've got a copy here of the Declaration of Independence, Constitution here. We've got Patrick Henry's infamous speech, "Give me liberty or give me death." And today, going into the Constitution, we're going to highlight the First Amendment. We're going to listen to it word from word from the Constitution itself. We're not going to tell you what someone thought of what somebody said, but we're going to get straight to the source. Original sourcing is key when studying out the founding.
Exactly. And then the first 10 amendments to the Constitution is the Bill of Rights. That's what we're going to start breaking down today, starting with the First Amendment, and it reads as such. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
I didn't hear the word separation of church and state.
Yeah, we looked in here. It's actually not in the Constitution.
It's not in the Constitution?
It's not there. No.
Friends, this phrase, separation of church and state, the history behind that is a response letter from Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Church. They were concerned about, is things going to be like the old days where the British Empire and the king tell you how to worship, when to worship, and this style of worship. And they had written a letter, and in response, Thomas Jefferson had said, no, there's been a wall of separation put in place on purpose so the government can't come in and tell you what to do and how to do it. You can freely exercise the way you choose to worship the Lord.
That's right. That's good. And then it also affords that protection to all who choose to worship any religion. It's not specific to Christianity, even though the Founding Fathers were very much so Judeo-Christian.
Yes, for the most part. There was a couple of Islamic belief, and so they just said government will put no law in place to establish a religion or show preference that way. Now, this is not like any religion. You don't want to have like a church of, we cut off your left pinky. This is assuming it's not going to inflict pain or hurt or harm to other people.
Right, like infringing on their rights.
Exactly.
That's where the freedom of speech comes in. Even if somebody says something that you don't agree with, free speech is free speech is free speech. The limitation of speech is only set upon if you're infringing on someone else's rights, just like in the religion aspect. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater.
Right.
Can't do that. But just because you might not agree with what somebody's saying doesn't necessarily mean that they can't say it. I don't agree with a lot of what a lot of people say. They still have the right to say it, and I respect that right, and I will fight for their right to say what I don't like, because it's free speech.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Peacefully assembling. I have a picture here of, it's an old drawing. Now, this isn't the actual drawing. This is a copy of it, of the Liberty Tree in Boston, Massachusetts in the mid-1700s. What gave way to these words being penned, peacefully assemble. You have to feel like you can peacefully assemble with others to share concepts and thoughts and do a way of life without this fear of repercussion. At the Liberty Tree in Boston, Massachusetts in the mid-1700s, you had this understood agreement. When you came to the Liberty Tree, you weren't there to argue, you weren't there to debate, you were there to listen to ideas freely expressed without fear of repercussion, to expand thought, to expand mind, to expand your horizon of mental imagery so that we can make life a better way. And some ideas were great, some of them were not so great, but to have a place where the king couldn't come in and press his thumb and said, you can't assemble that way, right, without fear of repercussion, to peacefully assemble.
Yes, and that all of these go into the same aspect as you can take them as far as you can until you start infringing on someone else's rights. Same thing with the protesting or the assembling, as long as it's peaceful. That's where it says it. It's in the First Amendment. You also have the right to petition the government.
Yeah.
If the government's off doing something crazy or doing their own thing, or if you're worried, just like that lady from the church petitioned Thomas Jefferson, you have the same right. You can petition your government and request a response from them, and start making change.
Yeah, exactly. The ability to bring to highlight, hey, which also echoes the first part of the First Amendment about the freedom of press, or the second part, the freedom of press. Without a free press, a government can run wild. No, people have to be able to express, hey, this may not be too kosher. This is good.
Right, or present the news and let the people decide.
Exactly.
That's how it ought to be.
Exactly. Awesome. And so next episode, we're going to conquer this, or we're going to go over the Second
Amendment, yes.
Right
yes.
to bear arms.
You have the First Amendment talking about speech, and you got the second one on how to protect it.
Yes, exactly. Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys.